Okay, if you're a real estate pro, you're an absolute master of connection and service, right? But here's the thing, is all that expertise may be coming at the expense of your own safety. Today, we're going to tackle that head on. We're going to transform open house safety from something that's, a nagging worry in the back of your mind into a core professional skill. This explainer is brought to you by The Other Way Marshall Consulting, and we are all about giving you confidence through a solid plan. So, let's dive right in.
So this is really the heart of the matter, isn't it? You're an expert at making total strangers feel welcome, at turning an empty house into a potential home. But that very hospitality, well, it can create some serious vulnerabilities. Our whole goal here is to show you exactly how to keep that welcoming vibe while at the same time taking complete control of your environment. It's totally possible.
All right, let's start by, reframing a term you probably use every single day. An open house. It's not just a sales event, is it? If you look at it through a safety lens, it is the textbook definition of an unpredictable situation. You're inviting literally anyone into a space you don't know that well, and chances are you're doing it alone. Now, this isn't about being paranoid, not at all. It's about being a prepared professional.
So, to get us there, we've got a really clear plan. We'll kick things off by talking about the hospitality trap. Then we'll walk through 3 key phases: proactive preparation, managing the space, and the secure exit. And finally, we'll talk about going beyond a simple checklist to build real, lasting confidence. All right, let's jump into our first and honestly most important phase, proactive preparation. The work you do before a single guest even shows up. That's what really sets you up for success. See, true security isn't about reacting to problems, it's about creating a space where those problems are way less likely to happen from the get-go.
So your arrival itself is a huge part of the plan. First up, arrive with intention. That means walking the property with a safety mindset. Where are the exits? What could be a hazard? Next, park for your exit. This is a big one. Never ever get blocked in. Park on the street if you have to. Just keep your escape route clear. Third, you need a safety buddy. Let a colleague know your schedule and set up a time for check-in texts. And last but not least, check your signal. Walk through the house and find any cell phone dead zones. You need to know where you can and can't make a call.
Okay, now let's talk about staging the house itself for safety. First things first, plan your path. Unlock all the interior doors. You want every possible escape route to be open and accessible. Next, remove hazards. Yeah, the sellers should have their valuables locked up, but your job is to do a quick scan for anything that could be used as a weapon. Heavy objects, kitchen knives, that kind of thing. And finally, set up a digital perimeter. Using a digital sign-in app isn't just for capturing leads, folks. It's a professional filter. It tells everyone you're identifying who comes through that door, and that can deter people with bad intentions.
All right, so the doors are open. People are starting to trickle in. Time for phase 2, managing the space. Now, during the open house itself, your physical position and just your general awareness, those are your most powerful safety tools. This is where all that prep work really starts to pay off. Okay, this right here is a total game changer, and it's such a simple shift in habit. The golden rule is guide, don't follow. You never, ever want to let a guest get between you and your exit. So instead of trailing them into a master bedroom or, God forbid, a basement, you stay back. You gesture and you say something like, "The master suite is just down the hall to your left." You let them walk ahead. This is so important. It keeps them in your line of sight and makes sure you always have a clear path out.
And that positioning, that's all part of a bigger strategy, projecting confident control. You want to anchor yourself near the front entry. It's your command center, right? You've got clear visibility and a quick way out. And please, be present, head up, not buried in your phone. The most important thing, greet every single person who walks in with a warm, direct welcome and make eye contact. Believe me, this is more than just good customer service. It sends a clear signal that you are aware, you're present, and you are in charge of this space.
Now, with all these protocols, there's one tool you have that's more powerful than any other: your gut, your intuition. If a person or a situation just feels off, do not dismiss that feeling. That's not you being rude. That is your brain's amazing risk assessment system screaming at you, and it's working perfectly. You have to listen to it. When that internal alarm goes off, create more space, keep the chat short, and move yourself closer to an exit. Trust your gut.
So, trusting that internal alarm is absolutely the critical first step. But what do you do next? Knowing how to act on that feeling with confidence, maybe using some verbal de-escalation, that's the other half of the puzzle. And that is exactly what our sponsor, The Other Way Marshall Consulting, gets into with their one-on-one personal safety coaching. It's all about turning that gut feeling into decisive professional action. You can learn a lot more by checking out the link you see on your screen.
Okay, picture this. The last guest has just walked out the door. You breathe a sigh of relief and start packing up. But hold on, the job is not over yet. Let's talk about phase 3, the secure exit. This is a moment when you can feel really vulnerable, and honestly, it's a phase that gets overlooked way too often.
So let's just pause for a second on this question. The house is finally quiet, your sign-in sheet is full of leads, it feels like you're done. But are you really safe? Assuming the property is empty is one of the single most dangerous assumptions you can make. This whole process isn't over until you are locked safely in your car and driving away.
To finish the day safely, you need to have a strict final sweep protocol. This is absolutely non-negotiable. First, you announce it, nice and loud. The open house is now over. I'm locking up. This lets anyone who might still be lurking around know you're closing up shop. Second, you check. Do a full clear of every single room, closet, even the patio. Third, once you are positive it's empty, you lock up and you exit with purpose. Walk to your car, keys in hand, and lock the doors the second you're inside. And finally, you check out. Send that all-clear text to your safety buddy to let them know you're good.
So, we've gone through a lot of steps, a lot of protocols, but the real goal here isn't for you to just memorize a list. It's about moving beyond the checklist and into a state of real, ingrained professional confidence. Let's talk about what that really looks like. Think of a checklist as your training wheels. It's the beginning, it's the framework. It's what makes sure you don't miss a critical step, especially when you're busy or tired. It's absolutely essential for building the right habits. But yeah, it's just the start of the journey.
Because the real destination is ingrained confidence. This is when all those safety protocols stop being a list you have to remember and they just become how you work. It's second nature. The real deterrent, the thing that keeps you safest, is that unshakable confidence that just radiates preparedness. It tells any potential threat, I am not an easy target. And it lets you handle any situation with total calm and professional authority.
And that brings us to the end of our plan. A huge thank you to our sponsor, The Other Way Marshall Consulting, for helping us put this together. Hey, if you found this valuable, it would mean a lot if you take a second to like, subscribe, and maybe drop a comment with your thoughts. And look, if you're ready to go beyond the checklist and really become the most prepared, most confident professional in the room, I seriously encourage you to check out the one-on-one personal safety coaching from The Other Way. You can learn all about it at the link on your screen. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there.